Hi, I'm miltonchang of Bonsaiheirloom. We did this bonsai last week, and I kind of make the comment I really don't like this bonsai. And if I have my treasures, I'd rather throw it away. And I caught a lot of kind of criticism about that in the sense that that's not a green kind of attitude. I really didn't mean that. I really meant to say my principle has always been to make drastic changes rather than kind of live with the problem. First of all, I really appreciate the feedback because the whole idea is that I want to improve my presentation and my attitude. So I appreciate the feedback, both criticism as well as the constructive feedback. Some of the constructive feedback I thought was very good. One is why not air layering, and I'll talk more about that. And the other one was hide it by using some rocks. And the third is really more or less to live with it. And kind of using my principle of when you have lemon, make lemonade, in a sense to accentuate the problem to somehow make it beautiful, make people understand why it's there. These are all fine suggestions, but I will have my own conclusion at the end. So let me tell you my operating principles, 3 simple operating principles that led me to what I kind of advocate in bonsai. The very first one is to be decisive. If you're not decisive, you procrastinate and things will never be done right. So let me tell you how I come to that, what experience I had that made me come to that conclusion. When I was a little boy, I used to go to the creeks in Hong Kong to catch these little guppies. And they are colorless guppies, just a few colored dots. And they're probably not native, but escaped from the hatcheries where people raise tropical fish. And when I came to the U.S., and that was in the 50s, and when I came to the U.S. in the 60s, and in fact, when I was in graduate school in the late 60s, I learned that there are guppy clubs where people get together once a month and talk about techniques of breeding guppies. And this is 60 years later, you can see what the difference selective breeding has made. And the whole concept at the time I was taught is to, when you have a mediocre guppy, don't stay with it, just chuck it out. Because you want to have the best of the breed, to propagate, so that you get beautiful improved guppies as you go on. So this 60 years later, look at how beautiful these guppies are. On the web you can buy them, and they can multiply like crazy if you take good care of them. So from that experience, I learned that if you want to do something right, you got to be drastic. So you can see when I had the trident maple, when I want to shape it, to turn it, I actually did a drastic cut off the main branch, and that's how you get your spectacular result at the end. So be decisive, be drastic, and do your thing. The next thing the principle that I live by is be my own master. And that sounds a little bit arrogant, so let me clarify what I mean by be your own master. You cannot always think you're right, so you gotta be listening to inputs, and you sort them out, make your own decisions, and then go for it. Don't let somebody else be your master, in a sense, telling you what to do if you don't think it's right. And so in this case, I really appreciate the feedback you gave me, and I internalized, and I tell you what my decision is. And the last principle that I live by is to never stop learning. And the world is changing too fast. If you stick to your status quo, conventional wisdom, you never really go anywhere. You can't excel. So again, you have to never stop learning and learn something new. So combining these 3 principles, what would I do? So let me go into a little bit of detail to show you what are the possibilities that we all learn something in the process. So let me take this one out of the pot. I already potted it because I thought I was going to done with it, but with the feedback, I figured I better revisit this tree. So if you really look at this lump, this is the big lump I'm talking about. That's a tree, and this lump really comes out to be really quite ugly in my mind. So now what do I have to do? I keep saying I have to be drastic in order to make things right. So you can see what happened is that when you are not careful with your roots, this root basically came from here and grew over to this to cover up all this, the rest of the trunk. There's probably roots coming out of this trunk going this way, but then this one completely took over because somehow it caught a bigger pocket of fertilizer. So one thing I can do is to carve out this piece in a sense of make this root look like continuous by cutting back some of this, and then carve out some of this so that, and then cut off some of this, and in fact, cut off this piece so that this is coming out like roots. So I may even cut it all the way up here to sort of show more of the trunk and get rid of this piece of the root. And I think that would do a long ways to cure it. Now, when I cut off this piece, this will be really ugly bare. There's a discontinuity. So what I like to do is to put some root tone kind of hormone to make this part more or less air layering. So hopefully it will root out. And one of the suggestions that you made is for me to air layer this piece. I really can't do much with this piece if I air layer down here. So I have to air layer here. And then I wound up with a kind of a small trunk. So kind of wasted this big trunk. So with that in mind, then that is what I'll do. And I'll take my time to carve out this out nicely and carve this nicely. Get rid of this root from here because it shouldn't be coming from here to go down to the roots. And so again, the principle I said is to be your own master and be drastic. Don't settle for kind of mediocrity, and then to make a decision. And in this case, we decided and we learned something in the process to see if this part will root out, more or less air layering that part, see if it will root out by covering it with soil. I thank you for your feedback, and please click like if you found this is informative. And I do need encouragement, by the way. Subscribe to our channel so that we can notify you of any new video that's informative. So thank you very much. See you next week.